go!
Everybody, welcome to Teaching Crypto. This is AZcrypto and MrFOMO. Even though a hurricane is headed in our general direction, hopefully not a direct hit at all, but we are here for you no matter what. And we're here on a huge day for Bitcoin, for crypto. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, help us out, get to 1,700 and 2,000. Hey, it would be greatly appreciated, guys, if you could push us through. Super chats are available. MrFOMO, we finally got some good news. Grayscale wins their court case against the SEC, and we see Bitcoin pump all the way up to 28K. Did not hold 28K. However, it was a huge day for Bitcoin and crypto.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I was enacting my hurricane plan, and you got in touch with me and told me what was going on. But yeah, this was a really big day. At least there was a load of price action there. And let's see, we'll get your screen up. But all that price action happened before the decision went public, or at least before we.
Some of it. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Some of it.
So that was pretty wild. It was like people got wind of it and they went to buying some Bitcoin. So that was all good news today when I saw that, or when you let me know it hit.
And here's the thing, that there was news earlier, which we're going to talk a little bit later, about Twitter /X getting a crypto license, and maybe that was part of it. But I do really think, I do really think, and I said this, that this could spur a movement. Now, obviously, we didn't make it all the way back up to 30 or anything crazy like that. But you got to remember, we were in the 25.9 range just a day ago. So it was a significant pump. Now, can we get back to 20 and hold? That's a big question mark. But I do think Bitcoin now you're going to see some positive momentum. When I say positive, 35 or anything crazy like that, but I think we might be able to hold 26, and I think that's pretty significant. And if we can hold 27, that's even more significant, because I was expecting a big month of September. I think sideways, if you can go sideways in September and stay in the 26, 27, I really like what might be shaping up for October here, because I think eventually the SEC is going to have to let up and just come clean and say, we can't win these cases. You know what's happening next? Coinbase's case is up for a decision. And so I think if Coinbase wins and then the SEC says, you know what, we're going to have to let you guys open up these ETFs, I think October is going to be a lot of fun, MrFOMO, a ton of fun.
And now I tend to agree with you. If we see another decision go against the SEC, if we see a bunch of ETFs line up and get approved, I think you've got, all of that good news creates sort of a perfect storm, hurricane pun intended. But that could spur on some really good price movement. And so all of those things together, yes, one ETF I wasn't sold on, but all of that good news I think would be a really good.
Well, once you approve one, you got to approve all of them. And Coinbase's case against the SEC is also pretty pivotal as well. So if you put that all into factor, we found out that BlackRock has significant interest in capital into the miners. Whatever you think of BlackRock, and I understand, and I'm not saying I love them or anything like that. There's a lot of people I don't love, but in crypto, you got to put those feelings aside, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to better your life for you and your family. And I think BlackRock's involvement is going to help really shape this upcoming bull run. It's going to help off steer maybe some of the retail that has cold feet, because I do think once you see, and I keep saying this, once you see Bitcoin go over 40 and 50, and I don't expect that to happen really. I said 40 before 2024, but I think it would touch 40 and then retrieve back. Once you see it go over 40 for good and go over 50 for good, I do think retail is going to pop back in. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen this year. I'm saying 50 is going to be in 2024, but you're going to see some massive interest come back in, and who knows who else is buying Bitcoin right now, right? You have Robinhood supposedly having $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Why is that? Well, they might want to get into ETF game as well. They don't want to. They don't want to have let Coinbase have all the glory. And so this is just the beginning. We talked about being patient. And again, I'm not calling for. I know people have called me a moon boy before because I went for a 34,000 August. I'll take all the heat for that. I'm not calling for a 34K.
Moon boy.
I just want to see. I just want to see some sideways action. If we can hold 27 or 26, that's a win for September for me. I know it sounds like low expectations, but again, I was always favoring October. I thought August would be better. Maybe September ended up being better than I even thought. We'll just have to wait and see.
I think I'm going to switch places with you here. I think if we see all of that good news line up in September and October, I think we'll definitely break through 30. That huge point of resistance that we created now at 29 and 30. I think that's the kind of thing that it needs to make that solid jump through that resistance. And I think, I mean, this isn't a huge level, at least not in recent history, but I think that's what you're seeing is some of the people that, you know, bought on the downswing now selling off and leveling this off. But I'm hoping that this stays here and we coil up from here and then we see some of that good news.
Well, yeah,
you know, spur the market. But I think I'm going to switch places with you here. And if all that good news comes to play, we're going to break through 30 and I could see us actually touching 40. That's the thing with the crypto market and Bitcoin. You know, as down as everyone was, and I think what was the fear and greed index was like at 32 or something like that. As down as everyone was on Bitcoin, there it goes jumping 5% on just this one bit of news. And so that's why we're all involved in Bitcoin. That's why we're all involved in crypto, because volatility is only a bad word on the downside. And we've seen all the ugliness, right? Like we've lived through the worst possible parts of this crypto winter, fingers crossed. And now we should be able to pay off. And so, you know, just be patient a little bit longer. But I think with all this good news and the bull run ahead, and, you know, like you were saying earlier, banks are starting to offer more or higher interest rates. You're seeing, you know, more and more signal that the Fed is going to stop raising the interest rates
eventually.
Yeah, and so I within the next 6 months probably, and so all of those are good signs. There still could be a lot of negativity on the market, but I like where we're at. If all of this good news comes to fruition in the next couple of months, that's a big if, I know, but
I actually think we're on the same page because I do think we're going to take 30, but not till October. I'm tempering my expectations for the upcoming month, but I do think we can overtake 30. Now it might take 2 or 3 tries to get there. Like you said, there's resistance. So the chances of getting
there's
30,
a huge level of resistance
absolutely.
At 29 and 30.
The chances of getting 30 on the first try are probably not high, but I think eventually we could get there. And I said, the 40 number for me, we might just take 40. But remember, I'm expecting some downside in December around the holiday time and a bit of a retrace, right? We talk about this all the time. Bitcoin never goes straight up. We're not going up to 40, 45 to 50. It's just not going to happen that way, right? We might hit 40 and go back to 36 or 35. But then before the halving, get up, and I do expect us over 40 for sure before the halving. I don't know how much, but I expect it, and we'll see what happens. Now, I want to talk about something also, and this is more long-term, and this is going to kind of depend on how successful X/Twitter is. I guess I should just start calling it X now, but it came out today that they did acquire a license to add crypto payments. Now, this doesn't mean they're going to be offering buying and selling of crypto quite yet, but it doesn't open the door for it, which originally they said they were not going to do. However,
that means the school board can start tipping us in Bitcoin, though. That's great.
However, this is interesting because if X can kind of make sure that they study the course, because they've made some very questionable decisions and they have lost some people, but the majority of people are still on there. You know, Threads really hasn't captured a lot of the attention or the customers yet. But if X can kind of study the boat here and crypto is introduced before the halving, I think that could be huge. Again, it's another way to get people involved. We have to sometimes remember there are still a lot of people that are not in Bitcoin or crypto that are on the sidelines, whether it's because they're young, whether it's poor, or they've heard bad things, some of it true, some of it not true. There are a lot of people that could be entering as newbies, just like a lot of us, the last bull run. And those people, the more options you give them of easy entry, the easier it is. They're
Well,
not the type
what
of person.
percentage that you said not a huge percentage of the world is in the US, especially is on Twitter. Like we always give it this huge amount of weight, but there's not actually a huge percentage on Twitter, right?
Well, I mean, at one point there was 15%, but I mean,
Right.
here's the
And
thing.
so you have 15% of the population on Twitter. How many of those people are actually into crypto? You could say maybe, you say maybe 10 to 15% of those people
No, I
seem
would
to
say,
have a
I
bigger.
would actually, X has a bigger, it got a decent crypto community. I don't know if I wouldn't say anything crazy like 50%, but I would think higher than 10 to 15. That's a
Well,
good question. But
regardless, it doesn't. A majority of the people are on there aren't crypto people like us, right?
well, it's
And so,
majority. The majority are sports, politics. But I have to say, after you get past those two groups, sports, politics, entertainment, after those three groups, let me preface, I think crypto might be number 4. Really?
well, that's that, and so you have that small group left over, maybe half, or maybe a little bit more than half, I guess. But you still have a group that's not into crypto. So
Yeah.
by them incorporating those crypto payments, it adds to that curiosity, right? And those are the people that we want to bring in. Those are those crypto curious people that have heard about it, right? And they haven't heard the kinds of bad things that they associate with criminality and they associate with black market drug deals, right? Like these are people who are common sense about it. They just haven't gotten into it yet. And I think that's kind of what crypto needs, is to be incorporated, to see a real world use case and be incorporated. Now my worry is that it's just going to be like Bitcoin and Dogecoin, right? Like or
We'll see.
just Dogecoin, which would be.
Hopefully not. We'll have to wait and see. We did want to talk about, before we leave our audience today, we always talk about how sometimes people make huge mistakes. And, when we first got into crypto, obviously we don't talk about him a lot because he's more of a celebrity than actual, like, you can call him an influencer, but more so it turns celebrity than actually giving good advice and good information. BitBoy Crypto, or BitBoy as he calls himself now, just BitBoy, got into some trouble, and you wanted to touch on that with our viewers.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're seeing that he's no longer with the channel, or at least depending on who you talk to, he's no longer with the channel and no longer with the network and no longer with the company. But according to him, they can't take that away from him for some reason or another. He never really specified what that was, and so he seemed to say that he was taking his show with him to Dubai, where he seems to be headed. And for all intents and purposes, Dubai is a tax haven, right? And so you could see why he'd be heading there, but there's a lot of speculation as to why he might be leaving and going to
Yeah,
Dubai. And one of those is something that you touched on pre-show, and that's that there were a lot of investigations that may be coming down on him for his involvement in meme coins,
yeah,
and the meme coins that he pushed, and I know he was pushing Ben coin for a while,
very, very shady situation there. Extremely
and he
shady.
was buying other tokens, and then once he started pushing them on his show, he would sell them within a week because he had over 1 million viewers, and you can generate that kind of interest when you have that many people watching your show. You can get that many people to buy, especially something that has a tiny market cap. It makes a huge difference to somebody
Let's
who's an early holder.
but let's keep it real. He was the first crypto YouTuber to get over 1 million followers.
And that's the
And
thing, and that's what
I
makes
have to
it
give him
so
some
sad.
credit. I don't like the guy personally. I've never met him, but from afar, there's some to dislike there. You have to give him credit for his success as a channel.
That's really what makes it so sad to me, because if you're into crypto in some form or fashion, you've gone through his channel at some point, right? Like, you could not have been into crypto in the last 4 or 5 years and not heard of BitBoy Crypto, not stumbled upon his videos, unless you were just staying away from,
besides
social media, right? And that would be impossible if you're into crypto. You have to get your information somehow, some way.
I mean, the biggest channels really were him, Altcoin Daily, and our friend George. He doesn't know us, but our buddy George from Crypto or Us. Those were the big ones.
Coin Bureau, and there were a couple others.
Coin Bureau is an actor. Don't get me started on that channel. But
it's still, I mean, that's the thing, is like, that's what makes it so sad, is that, like, he's part of everyone's crypto, journey to this point, in some way. And so to see him, maybe falling like this is really kind of sad, especially with the success and like I said, with how he is part of, most people's crypto journey, if not everybody's.
So it's sad. There's rumors he may have fallen back into substance abuse. I don't,
and let me just say, we take no joy in hearing that part of it either.
No. I mean, look, he's got a family. We have families, and it's rough. And it's rough.
Right. So. And that is a terrible, terrible thing to have to struggle with. And, if that is something that he is struggling with, and that's only been rumors, but if that is something that he's struggling with, I hope he gets help with that, and help with that soon, wherever he goes. If he ends up in Dubai, or if he stays here in the States, I hope he gets help with that first and foremost, and then handles his other business, if that is indeed true.
Absolutely. So guys, stay with us, because if anything happens, as long as we keep our power, we'll be back this week giving you more great content. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Push us over to 1,700. We would greatly appreciate it. I know you can do it. Please share that channel with everybody. For MrFOMO, this is AZcrypto. You guys have a wonderful night.
See you.